Hey guys, welcome back to Dash Initiative. Today we are continuing our series on things I wish I had known before we got married, and we're going to be talking on lasting love is created and not found. Now, before I go any further, if you're new on this channel, I'd like to encourage you to go and watch my last video on premarital preparation so that you're on the same page with us on what we've been discussing so far. Now, down to business. We all know that there are different stages of romantic love, but today we're going to be laying more emphasis on the first stage, which is the attraction stage. Now, this is the stage where you get to meet someone for the first time and you're automatically attracted to them. You're, filled with so much romantic energy that you easily want to do things for them. You want to spend quality time with them. You want to have fun with them. You just generally want to chill out with them. This is the stage that I called, in my language, love one thing, because you're so much in love. The love, is shocking you so much that you just want to do, things for them. You don't want to let them out of your sight even for one day. But the downside of this stage is that it does not take into consideration your social, your spiritual, or your intellectual, differences. Okay, and so it is not uncommon for someone at this stage, to leave their job, to leave their education, to leave even their families in order to get married to the person that they love. And so the in love, feeling in this stage gives you the same high that a drug would give. Okay? But eventually, when you come down from that high, your eyes would now be opened to the realities of the things that you've been neglecting. And these are the differences, that both of you have that will now become so glaringly obvious. Okay? And so these differences, could come in, different forms. Like we said, it could be that, for example, you're a Christian and your partner is an atheist, or you're a university graduate and your partner is a high school dropout, or you're a social butterfly. And meanwhile, your partner is someone that just like to be, alone, to be there, to be, just, on their own. They don't like, socializing that much. So these are the differences that will now become, glaringly obvious, when you come down from that high that the in-love feeling gives to you. And so it's what it now translates, to is that what used to make your partner, what used to make them, happy, will no longer excite them. And then they will also begin to demand things that do not come naturally to you. They begin to demand those things from you. And this is what usually causes problem in most, marriage relationship. But unfortunately, many people get married before they get to the second stage of the romantic love, which is the individuation stage. Now, it is at this stage that, both couples begin to learn to coexist alongside one another with their emergent differences. This stage is much more intentional than the, attraction stage, because it is at this stage that you now, both of you sit down and begin to analyze those differences that you have, talk about them and see if there are things that you can cope with in marriage. See if there are things that, you can work on with your partner so that you overcome those things before going into your marriage relationship. And if you see that these are things that you're not able to, work them out between themselves, between yourselves during this courtship period, then it's better for you to take a pause, from going further into marriage relationship, because it is better to have a broken relationship, to have a broken engagement, than to have a broken marriage. So if there are differences you'll not be able to cope with if you get married to that person, then it's better for you to take a pause, before going into that marriage relationship. Okay, because the problem is that when this, because some couples don't wait to get into the second stage of the romantic love before getting married, they miss what they are supposed to do at the individuation stage, which is the second stage of the romantic love. And thereby, when they get married and those differences, those little differences begin to surface, it becomes, real challenge for them in their marriage relationship. And that's when, that's why most marriages don't last. That's why most marriages fail. But I have good news for you, because Gary Chapman in his book told us that the secret to creating a love that lasts is in a partner understanding, their partner's primary love language and speaking it to them as often as they can. He analyzed that there are 5 different primary love languages, and number 1 is words of affirmation, number 2 acts of service, number 3 receiving gifts, number 4 quality time, and lastly, physical touch. So now these love languages are something both partners need to find out and understand about their partner, and then speak it to them as often as they can, so that their marriage relationship can become more exciting. Now, the first one, words of affirmation. If this is your partner's love language, your partner would want you to affirm to them, to verbalize, and acknowledge your affection for them by, telling them words like, I love you, I care about you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, I can't do without you, words like that. If this is what your partner, wants, then you should understand it and speak it to them as often as you can. Now, don't wait for them, before you do that. Don't wait for them to ask you, oh, do you love me? Because maybe something, happened that made them to make them, feel less loved. Okay. And then they begin to ask you, do you still love me? Or are you sure you love me? Don't wait for that to happen. As often as you can, tell them you love them. Speak this love language to them. And then number 2, acts of service. Your partner may be the type that wants you to put into action, show them by action the love you profess for them, by doing things for them that that you wouldn't naturally do. Okay, by going the extra mile, by sacrificing for them and doing things for them, that things that you can do for yourself or you can do by yourself, but because you want them to affirm their love for you again and again and again. So from time to time you should speak this love language to your partner. And then thirdly, receiving of gifts. Your partner may be the type that wants you to also show them that you love them by giving them meaningful gifts that matters. Every now and then surprise them with beautiful gifts. They don't necessarily have to be expensive, but the thoughtfulness behind them is what really matters. Okay, so just buy those little gifts, hide them. You may hide them in places where your partners could discover them, to give that element of surprise. Now, don't wait for their birthdays, don't wait for special occasions, don't wait for anniversaries, okay, before you buy surprise your partner with a gift that is meaningful, that will matter to them, that they will really, really appreciate. And this will go a long way in cementing your relationship. Now, quality time. Okay, this is also very important. It's a very important love language, because some partners, they just neglect their partners. They feel that, oh, since we all left the house together, so I'm back from work, I need to rest, and everybody just sits on their own, nothing, year in, year out, it's just like that. So, but your partner may be the type that would always want you to spend, they feel most loved, they feel most appreciated when you spend quality time with them. So take time out of your busy schedule, from the hustle and bustle of your jobs and your businesses, away from friends and families and anything that could distract you from having a quality time with your partner. You could take them out, or you could decide to stay at home, just the two of you, just generally chilling out and having fun and being with each other. Okay, so the last one is physical touch. Now, if this is the love language of your partner, you should understand it. There are some partners that want you to always touch them at every point in time or the other. Your partner, it could be they want you to kiss them, it could be they want you to hug them every now and then, cuddle with them on the couch, on the bed, wherever, just cuddling, not doing anything, just to cuddle. And it could also be sex. Your partner's love language may be they want you to be having sex with them as often as you can. Now, this is one of the areas where most marriages have issues. Okay, the area of sex. For example, when we just got married, Meanwhile, this is my sex is my husband's love language, and then he's always the one initiating, the act every now and then. And so it got to a point where we started having issues on that, because he feels is the only one he felt that he was the only one initiating it, and he's making him to look like a sex addict. So when I saw that it has started bringing problems in our marriage, I had to look inward, and I began to work on myself, and then I started initiating sex, and this went a long way in cementing our relationship. And so if this is your partner's love language, understand it, and then speak it to them as often as you can. Don't wait for only them to initiate sex. You also initiate it, and then this will also show to them that they really mean a lot to you. You really want to bond with them, because sex is one area where couples can really bond together very well. And so if couples are able to know and understand their partner's love language, and speak it to them as often as they can, this will go a long way in cementing your relationship and making your marriage to be more exciting and more interesting. Okay, and so I hope I've been able to shed more light on what we need to do, what you need to do in order to create a lasting love in your marriage. So thank you for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys.